Hello again, MMA True Believers. I'm Jason Burgos for SureDog.com, and my guest is a man who came up just short of one championship welterweight gold in November. However, when it returns to action on January 22nd in the main event of One Championship Unbreakable, he will do so as a lightweight and face a Japanese MMA legend in Shinya Aoki, and that man is former LFA welterweight champion James Nakashima. James, thanks so much for the time before this big fight coming up.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Now, first, I wanted to go back to your fight in November that I just referenced. You had not tasted failure over your entire career until your fight with Abasov. Any loss is difficult. However, you had broken his nose, were likely maybe winning that fight before it all came to an end in the fourth. How long did it take to get over that loss, to be so close to your second MMA championship, your first real big major one, combined with losing for the first time and being stopped? Was it hard to get past? And if so, how did you dig yourself out of the doldrums and get back to work?
Yeah, it was tough, but it was my first loss in MMA, and but I've lost a lot in life. And the first thing, I mean, the only thing I could do is just pick myself up the following morning right away. Start off with something positive, making my bed, doing my routine, and just getting back on track right away. So I don't think it really took me too long, and I'm living as high level of a life as I've lived in it right now. So I'm doing okay.
So talk to me about this move down to lightweight. Considering the last fight, there's no question you are an elite talent in one's welterweight division. Why move down, not continue the journey, get that title you were just so close to winning? Like throughout your four fight run with one, did you have like a lot of evidence that made you feel the size difference in their welterweights compared to welterweights here in North America, what you dealt with for your career in LFA and before, were larger and more difficult to deal with than expected? For example, Sage Northcutt got a wide, big wake up call in how the size differences in one compared to, U.S. and North American fights. Was that part of it? Are the welterweights just a little bit too big? Lightweight makes more sense?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that there's a size difference, but it's just my weight class. I can make 170 hydrated. That's the rules for one championship is you got to be hydrated when you make weight. And it's what I was going to do all along. It was kind of a surprise when they sent us the first bout contract that I had to wait. Their welterweight was 185 and hydrated, and it's just it's just where I wanted to be. It's easy for me to make.
So why can, like, if you were given that first contract at a weight class that probably maybe wasn't best for you, why continue on there and not just, all right, I did it once, I want to go where I'm better off? And like I said, you did well. You made it all the way to their version of welterweight's championship.
Yeah, I mean, we thought maybe we had a shot to fight for the belt right off the bat, coming as an
Mm.
LFA champion, and then I took down that tough prospect, Magomed Aliev, and I thought maybe a title shot was right around the corner. We always just thought a title shot was right around the corner, so we just stayed there, and
Yeah.
it just made sense. But now that I had that shot, I'm just ready to go fight at my weight.
What are there really any differences? You just referenced the hydration protocols where you kind of have to stay within a certain area. They don't allow big weight cuts. How does that affect you in terms of fighting now at lightweight? Is there, are you the type of guy that by fight week you're only like 5-6 pounds out of weight anyways? It's not really that big of a deal having to now prepare for a fight within their hydration protocols.
Yeah, exactly. I stay super disciplined with my diet, and it's all pretty smooth, so it's not really a problem at all.
Do you
I mean, that
expect
last
and
fight,
Yeah, yeah, no, continue
sorry.
please.
I mean, the last fight, one championship, I went into that fight probably weighing about 178, 179. So
Mm.
it's where I'm at.
Do you expect to see any differences by having to be a little lower? Do you expect, oh, I'll gain some speed, I'll gain some endurance? Like, do you expect any differences, or it's pretty much the same? It's just the opponent's sizes are changing.
Yeah, it's funny you say like endurance is one of my big things, I feel like. And I feel like walking around a little bit light. Because I mean, I was walking around 178, 179, 180, but now I've been walking around about 176 and 175. And I do feel a little bit better, my runs and I think my endurance is a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, I think like the size, I think I'll have a little bit of size, which I think isn't very important. Same with strength, but I don't think those things are very important, but it's an edge. So I think it all adds up.
How much of a boost to your confidence and just life stability is it to go from a loss, move down weight, get one of the promotion's most legendary names in Shinya Aoki? Does part of you think like, damn, one must really believe in me? I'm a key North American asset for them. And what were your first thoughts when you made the move down? They like, yeah, Shinya Aoki. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that is that's a good perspective. I didn't even think of it that way, but you're right. Like they that's the I mean the one since I've been with one, I mean the coronavirus has kind of messed up the entire world, but since I've been with one, they've kept me active the entire time, and they put me on big shows that they had every single time. So yeah, they've taken care of me as well as they could, I feel. And this is another great opportunity, Shinya Aoki.
For a lot of fighters, and I talked to Shinya Aoki a couple days ago, and for him, and I think even other fighters, especially on Asia coming to the U.S., it wasn't something they wanted to do because the travel in advance is tough. They didn't want to like leave their families and train in the U.S. during camps and stay. Like say Martin Nguyen does that. He lives in Australia, but he trains in Florida for his fights, stuff like that. Like what? Now that you're a few fights in, have you really gotten used to the travel? Have you made adjustments over each fight? Like, hey, oh, I want to be out there this many days in advance. Oh, I want to do this. I need this to get, past the jet lag. Because I think the common idea was it's like 1 day for every hour change, and the further in advance you get somewhere farther out, the better. Like, has you had to go through many adjustments over those first four fights in terms of the travel out there?
Yeah, yeah. I like to come out here a little early. So with the whole quarantine process, that takes care of it. So by the
Mm.
time I fight, with the length of time I'm here is fine. But I just think making sure your diet and your weight cut isn't bad and you're hydrated and just getting good rest and your mind's right. And I think that all adds into recovering from the jet lag more than anything. So I think it's always kind of been fine for me.
Was Shinya a guy you at all follow on your way up into the sport and stuff like that? Does getting to share a cage or ring with him like resonate in a big way with you, or not really? You don't look. He wasn't like some big legendary figure you admired on the way up.
No, I didn't. I never really even knew who he was. I saw the fight versus Christian Lee, and that was a great fight. I like Christian Lee a lot. He's like probably one of my favorite fighters. He's got a lot of heart. That's one of the reasons why I like him. And that was kind of the first time when oh, actually, you know what? It was Ben Askren fight versus Shinya
Mm.
Aoki. I remember that's the first time I kind of found out about Shinya, and then when he fought Christian Lee again, kind of reminded me of him. But yeah, I was more of like a St. Pierre, Nick
Mm.
Diaz.
Yeah.
Those were my guys coming up.
There are certainly things folks can knock about Aoki's stand-up game. It's always been his biggest weakness. But when it comes to MMA grappling, he's one of the very best of the last two generations, last 20 years. Now, you are at a great gym in the MMA lab, but Shinya has a tough style to kind of mirror and match. Who have you been working with in preparation for this fight that gives you confidence you are ready for Shinya if or when it hits the mat?
Yeah, you're right about Shinya. It's he is like a specialist, kind of like almost Damian Maya-esque. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can put him in that level, but he's like a totally grappler, and he's a very dangerous grappler and a kind of a submission specialist. So it's a unique style, and I don't think there's one person in particular that can give me that look, especially at the lab. But I've been getting a lot of sparring rounds in with wrestlers, really trying to get to the takedown and really clean up my takedown defense. And he likes to clinch, so they've been
Yeah.
forcing the clinch a lot and just being sound there. And but I kind of have a little crew that I work with, a lot of technique. My three guys, we work our stand up, we work our jujitsu technique, and we work kind of like and another kid, Division 1 wrestler, helped me out a lot in the clinch. Um, just being specific, working on the details of, a lot of these principles in jujitsu and stand up, they're kind of universal. They'll work, against a blue belt, but they'll also work against Shinya Aoki, just basic positioning and basic timing and simple stuff like that. So I feel totally prepared. It's fine.
And that strategy is I find interesting in terms of the preparation, and I feel it maybe on some level maybe confirms where I was going next in terms of strategy. And that you've made a career on Use Your Wrestling, very talented wrestler. You used it even against Albasov, who's also a talented grappler in his own right. But like I mentioned, Shinya's weaknesses are on the feet. You mentioned tightening up your takedown defense. He dealing with prepare with wrestlers is that, and it seems like the smarter game plan to make this a fight where you want to sprawl and brawl, stop his takedowns, beat him up on the feet, showcase your striking, because it seems like the strategy isn't necessarily working with crazy jiu-jitsu guys and tricking, preparing for tricky submissions, all that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm not gonna let him get me down, and I'm gonna win this fight. Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to be comfortable if I do get taken down, and I'm going to be comfortable if I end up on top in the grappling positions too. So I'm I prepared in like many different facets, and I kind of prepared in that sense too about kind of being in some funky positions and training there a little bit with some particular guys. But um, yeah, I think I just I don't know. I just feel like if you just work the basics, continually, like it's not something that you can cram in 5 or 6 weeks, which is what the time that I had for the Shinya Aoki is just something you got to develop over 3 or 5, 4, 5, 10 years. Is just continuing to build your foundation and your identity through your practice. And if you're prepared and you're good, then you're prepared and you're good.
Now you mentioned Christian Lee, a guy you respect his style, admire his style. He's the champion in the division. Just recently defended the title for the first time. That obviously, if you can get past Shinya, will be a great fight. You just were in a title fight with Walter. Where do you feel, or what do you feel you need to do to get that fight with Christian? Do you think a win over Shinya, a former division champion, could be enough to catapult you into that final fight? Are you more interested in getting, like, if you get a win, an Eddie Alvarez, take on another legend of the sport in the lightweight division? Are there any thoughts on what you want to see or hope to see with a possible win over Shinya on the 22nd?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm totally focused on Shinya, but if I get the win, I'd love a title shot. If not a title shot, I want the tough fights. I'd love Eddie Alvarez, whoever the top contenders are in this weight. I'm ready. I'm in my prime. I'm feeling good. I'm grooving, so I'm ready.